Every sport has a proving ground, a place where tomorrow's stars test their mettle against the very best. In the world of auto racing, you won't find a tougher proving ground than the National Autosport Association Championships. Each year, the nation's best amateur racers gather for this single winner-take-all shootout. On the line, a shot at a professional racing career. The 8th Annual National Autosport Association Championships, presented by Toyo Tires, is next on NBC Sports. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2013 National Autosport Association National Championships presented by Toyo Tires. My name is Rob Klepper. Alongside John Lindsay, we welcome you to the beautiful Miller Motorsports Park as the Spec Miata cars will be out on the racetrack here shortly, John. A very competitive field, and we'll crown a national champion.
Indeed we will, Rob, and Spec Miata is an incredibly competitive class. All of these are Mazda Miatas, prepared identically, 3 different generations of Mazda Miata on the Toyo Proxys RR tire. But Mazda Speed supports all of these cars. They give them equal preparation, so we use what's called weights and plates to get these cars just right, and then these guys go at it. It is a driver's class for sure. Mazda also gives all the drivers a chance to go to a shootout later where they can win a ride in the MX-5 Cup just for winning the national championship here at Miller Motorsports Park.
Well, John, we were here back in 2010 at Miller Motorsports Park. Dan McKeever won the national championship. We're on the outer course here at Miller. What kind of challenges does that pose for these Spec Miata drivers?
It's a really long course, Rob, and this long straightaway right behind us is really the key. NASA rules allow one move on this long straightaway, but you have to work that draft just right or else someone's going to zing you down the inside, and you'll be absolutely ripe for a pass on that front straight.
Well, it's going to be a competitive race for sure. Keep an eye on the Rieger brothers. Ken Sutherland very fast in the qualifying events, and, of course, we mentioned Dan McKeever, the 2010 champion here at Miller. Spec Miatas are coming up next when we come back from Miller Motorsports Park. The 2013 National Autosport Association Spec Miata National Championship is brought to you by Mazda. We build Mazdas. What do you drive? And by Toyo Tires. Driven to perform. Welcome back to Miller Motorsports Park, the 2013 NASA Championships here in Tooele, Utah. We're about 35 miles outside of Salt Lake City, and you can see the Spec Miata cars on the racetrack getting set to run their national championship race. Rob Klepper alongside John Lindsay. We have got a great field of cars. 30 Spec Miatas will be taking the green flag here at Miller Motorsports Park. A lot of young guns out there and some veterans as well. Here is your starting lineup with Ken Sutherland on the pole alongside Sean Hedrick, Tyler Vance, Dan McKeever in row 2, Trevor McCallion, and Matt Schultz, who will start 6th. Then Adam Poland, Timothy Rieger, Justin Hilly, and Kyle Lustenau there running out your top 10.
And you were talking about the young guns, Rob. I can see right there Joey Jordan in the 16th position and also Nate Stacy down in 19th, 2 of our Teen Challenge drivers, here to compete for the big win in Spec Miata.
And you may wonder, the points on the right side of the graphic there, those are the points that they accumulated over the first 2 qualifying events. That's how we set our lineup for this national championship race. So Ken Sutherland, who ran 3rd in his first qualifying race and, of course, won the second one, that's why he is on the pole. As you see the pace vehicle pulling off the racetrack, Sutherland, the number 94, will set the pace. 15 turns over 3 miles on the outer course here at Miller Motorsports Park. The silver number 94 will set the pace down this long front straightaway. Green flag is out, and we are racing Spec Miatas here at Miller.
And now we can see on the start already a little drama. Cars off the course. They are going 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide, all trying to get that perfect line into that first corner so they can put some distance between this field of identically prepared cars.
Looks like Dan McKeever in that black number 10 trying to go 3 wide down into turn number 1 as he looks to the outside of Tyler Vance in the 85, and Ken Sutherland will lead him down into turn number 1 as you go on board with the 85 of Tyler Vance in 3rd. Now falls back to 4th as McKeever drives right on by.
And McKeever taking the whole track there, using every inch of this race course trying to get by Tyler Vance.
Ken Sutherland making his first ever stop at the NASA Championships, finds himself out in front. Sean Hedrick running 2nd there in that green Miata.
And this is a key corner, Rob. Look at all these different lines people are trying in here. This corner is one of the greatest places to pass on the whole track, with the exception of turn 1.
That is turn 5, known as Blackrock Hairpin here at Miller Motorsports Park. Again, on board with Vance, looking at the leaders. Hedrick in that green car, close in tow behind Ken Sutherland. And this is not one of those races, John, where you just want to bide your time and make a move. late in the race. If you can have a car that's fast enough to get to the front, you really have to do it as quick as you can.
That's very true, Rob, because you never know what's going to happen with yellow flags later on. If you're running as hard as you can and getting that good, clean air where nobody's taking away your line from you, and you're able to run your own race, it's really an advantage because, again, all of these cars are prepared completely identically. So you got to run when you can run and go away and hide from the rest of the pack.
Through the attitudes there, turns 8, 9, and 10, headed over to a nice left-hander right here, turn 11, known as the Tooele turn. And Sutherland continues to lead. You can see about an 11-car breakaway, 12-car breakaway for the leaders right now. 30 taking the green flag as they take the left-hander, followed by a right-hander and another left-hander to the front straightaway. Sean Hedrick in that 86 car won the first qualifier, ran 6th in the second qualifying race. That's why he lined up front.
And here we come onto the front straight. Now you see a bunch of different lines. Now the passing rules say only one move. So everybody's going to stay right together, work the draft, maybe a little bump drafting going on, and then you absolutely kick out at the last minute and try to get that inside move, or you sucker the other guy to go inside and you drive around him on the outside. So let's see what happens as they come down into the first turn.
Good passing opportunity down this long front straightaway heading into turn number 1. Will Sean Hedrick make a move on Sutherland? Doesn't look like he will. And he'll follow the leader through turn number 1. Nose to tail as you see Tyler Vance, that red number 85, runs third. Behind him, Dan McKeever in the 10. McKeever ran 2nd and 5th in the qualifying races.
And McKeever's also our 2010 national champion in Spec Miata, and he's an executive here at the track, so he has a lot of time on this track. Local guy. He's going to really challenge for those top positions on the podium as we go along in this race.
Sutherland continues to lead now into Blackrock Hairpin once again, turn number 5. There's Matt Schultz, the red 11, making a move to the inside, trying to get by Trevor McCallion in the 90X cars. We go on board with McCallion and GoPro as they battle side by side. That is for the 5th spot. Ken Sutherland continues to lead. Can he hold off all these young guns and win? Stay with us. When we come back, we'll find out. Welcome back to Miller Motorsports Park, the 2013 NASA Championships here in Tooele, Utah, just outside Salt Lake City. Ken Sutherland continues to lead, about 11-car breakaway. They are single file down into turn number 1. On board with 3rd place Tyler Vance in the 85, right behind Sean Hedrick, who's running 2nd.
You can see they're choosing slightly different lines here, looking for the slightest advantage, and that's because these cars are so equal, Rob. They're all on the same tire, same suspension, power equalized with what we call weights and plates. You can see every inch of the track is getting used, and McKeever is actually taking a little bit more than that occasionally, which he should, because that's the only way to get around as we come into this key passing zone again.
And once again, it looks like Matt Schultz, the red 11 car, taking a look to the inside. He made the move a couple laps ago on McCallion, now trying to get by Dan McKeever in the black 10 car. And Schultz, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack as we go on board with Kyle Lustenau, who started 8th in that number 89.
And look at how close these guys are. You can't put a blanket in between them. There's Adam Poland on the inside. They're all choosing different lines. These cars are so incredibly close in their preparation. About midway through the race, they don't want to mess anything up for the other guys, don't want to take themselves out. And just a great race so far here at Miller Motorsports Park.
Back up front, the 94 of Ken Sutherland still holding off the green 86 of Sean Hedrick. Tyler Vance runs in that 3rd spot through the attitudes as they head into turn number 11. Really the only elevation change that we see here at Miller Motorsports Park right there. They come down the hill a little bit, not like what we see at Mid-Ohio or what we've seen at Mid-Ohio the last couple of years, but Ken Sutherland doing a fantastic job out in front. Single file breakaway, John, and what can you do? We're just past the halfway point. What can you do now to make your car faster and try and get this win?
Well, you know, it's always a real chess game, because do you save the car so you're faster later in the race where you have everything at its optimum later on, or do you charge out early, get out to the front like Ken Sutherland's done? Now, you saw under braking there, Sean Hedrick had a great run on Sutherland. So let's see on this time when they come by if anybody's going to swing out to the inside, and maybe Hedrick can use that braking to get by Ken Sutherland. 3,500
feet here on the front straightaway at Miller Motorsports Park, on board with McCallion. Taking a little peek to the inside of Dan McKeever.
And there's Schultz in the rearview mirror. He may take that inside line again that's been so successful for him. Oh, they're taking the inside, and Schultz goes even more inside. Can he pull it off?
Big move for the 11 of Matt Schultz to the inside of both McKeever and McCallion and moves from 6th into 4th. Now McKeever off course, and Matt Schultz made a big move there, passes 2 cars, and now is in the top 5.
And that was a heck of a job for McKeever to save that. Did you see he only lost a little momentum? He never lifted. And in these momentum cars, if you get off course and you lift, you're done. You're done. So he stayed on it, stayed in it, stayed calm, again, into our key passing zone.
And this is where we've seen Matt Schultz really make some moves. Right here coming into turn number 5, it doesn't look like he has a run on the 85 of Tyler Vance, though it looked like McKeever trying to get back underneath Trevor McCallion as McCallion now off course. Turn the windshield wipers on, and it looks like the 89 of Kyle Lustenau will also get by.
And can you believe it? Just that momentum loss right there. Make one small error, and all of a sudden, 2 or 3 cars just rocket right by you, Rob.
With these Spec Miata cars, you just can't make an error. You can't make a mistake because you lose so much track position. And it seems like right now, Ken Sutherland, he's getting it done, John. He is not making a mistake. Hedrick hasn't had an opportunity to get a run on him and make a move. Meanwhile, behind him, you have the 89 of Lustenau coming up in there. You got Matt Schultz, who looks like he's one of the fastest cars on the track. And, of course, Tyler Vance still holding on to that 3rd and final podium spot in that number 85. So any of these guys really have a shot to win this race, but they're going to have to get their elbows up and get it done quick.
Big time, Rob, big time. And you can tell that Sutherland may be getting a little tired. As someone who has driven in that position, it gets really hard watching your mirrors, and you get kind of worn out after a while. So let's see. You know, I think I'm going to start calling Schultz the inside man, because that's where he's going to specialize in passing. And he's done so good there. We're coming up to the straight. Let's see who decides to take that inside line, and more importantly, where do they decide to take it?
And it looks like Sutherland, his car is washing out a little bit. I don't know if he's wearing out his tires or what. He's driving that thing harder and harder every single lap to try and keep these cars behind him. And when you're out front, sometimes it could be your Achilles heel. This guy behind him, Hedrick, can kind of bide his time, and it looks like he may have a run now down the long front straightaway as they race down into turn 1.
And who's going to break first? That's the key question here. Who's going to break first?
So Hedrick in the green car to the inside. Here goes Matt Schultz, was running 4th, trying to take over 2nd, and he'll get it done to the inside of Ken Sutherland. Vance will get by as well. So Sutherland from 1st back to 5th, as Sean Hedrick now is your new leader. Schultz runs 2nd.
And you just have to be an absolute master of control to try that inside move. You lock up a wheel, and you're into 4 other cars on the outside. So, again, Matt Schultz, that was a great move. He is really bringing some heat right now onto Sean Hedrick.
So new leader out front, the 86 of Sean Hedrick out of Portland, Oregon, the owner of TeamMiataCage.com. Doing a little defense there as Schultz to the inside again in turn 5. And you called him the inside man. He got it done, and he is now out front.
And that was a great move. You saw Hedrick move over and try to defend the inside, but Schultz went even further inside and pulled it off. Boom, there's a bump draft.
And that's okay. Tyler Vance lets him know, hey, man, I'm still here. I'm trying to get the win as well. As you could throw a blanket over the top 3 guys as Matt Schultz has a nice run there, pulls away a little bit for this great side-by-side battle for the 2nd spot. Hedrick in the green 86 and Tyler Vance in that red 85. Sutherland now trying to get back to the front. Lustenau, McKeever, McCallion, any one of these drivers can win this national championship here at Miller Motorsports Park. But first they have to get by the driver that started 6th and is now out front, Matt Schultz, beginning to pull away from the rest of the field. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll crown our champion here at Miller. The 2013 National Autosport Association Spec Miata National Championship is brought to you by Mazda. We build Mazdas. What do you drive? And by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And we're back here at Miller Motorsports Park, the final laps of the 2013 NASA Championships. Spec Miata's on the racetrack. Matt Schultz kind of checked out after he took the lead. Some great battles here for 3rd on back. The early leader, Ken Sutherland, in the 94, running in that 3rd spot as we go on board with Trevor McCallion.
And we can see there that Schultz is really checking out. But look at how close everyone else is for the next 3 or 4 spots on the podium. Unbelievably close racing as we close out this race.
You saw in the rearview mirror there of Trevor McCallion, that is the 19, the black, blue, and orange stripe 19 of Timothy Rieger, working his way up into the mix. Ran 11th and 10th in his qualifying race, trying to make some moves here late, get up on the podium, taking the inside move there. See Sean Hedrick, who was running 2nd pretty much the entire race, back there in that green car. But you're right, Matt Schultz checking out on the field as these guys are getting loose, pushing their car to the limit here in these final laps.
And there's the limit exceeded. Sutherland with a big drift, and he just gets freight trained. 3 cars right by him, lost the momentum. Yeah, what a heartbreaker. Just a small mistake, a little too much speed. The rear end washes out. Zoom, right by you.
Trevor McCallion gets by, Timothy Rieger gets by, Tyler Vance and Sean Hedrick all get by the early leader, Ken Sutherland, in that number 94. So, we talked about it when he was out front, really driving defensive, trying to hold these guys off, might have used up a little bit of his race car, and now just pushing it a little bit too hard to try and get back to the front.
And not only may the cars be getting a little bit tired, but the drivers are. They've been competing at the highest level now for 3 or 4 days, and now they're getting into the end stage, and they've got to be a little bit, let's say, fuzzy as they get into these end stages. This is not easy work right here.
Well, it's been very warm out there today. It was very windy to start this race. The wind has calmed down just a little bit, so they're dealing with some elements out there as well, trying to make these cars last as Sean Hedrick there in the green car tries to put a move on Tyler Vance. So Matt Schultz is out in front. Kyle Lustenau holds on to second. This is the battle for third on back, starting with that black number 90 of Trevor McCallion.
And you can see now that Schultz is really starting to check out. Big advantage for him. He can drive out the windshield, not in the rearview mirrors. But let's see what happens as these other guys come into this really, really critical turn zone. Is Hedrick going to go inside? Is someone else going to try that line and see if they can make it stick? We're getting to the end stages of the race. It's time to get it done.
And it looks like Hedrick will use your advice there, John. Make a move to the inside of turn number 1, inside of Tyler Vance up on the rumble strips. Takes the position. Now falls in behind the 19 of Timothy Rieger, who's in a great battle for that third spot with Trevor McCallion. So here's a look at second, the red car. That's Lustenau. Third, McCallion on back. As the laps are winding down, and now Lustenau drives off the racetrack, but like you talked about before, keep your foot in it. That's going to be better than lifting.
Absolutely, because if you lift, you lose adhesion, all of a sudden you're around and you're out of the race. So just keep in it, off-road it for a little bit, you'll be just fine, trust me.
On board with Hedrick once again, now on the rear bumper of Timothy Rieger. Crossover move to the inside, trying to make it stick. You can see him slicing and dicing for third on back. About a 5-car battle as now Sean Hedrick goes to the high line. Not going to work there on Timothy Rieger.
And they are pushing. They are really pushing. You saw that Hedrick tried a couple different lines there, but it's interesting. The inside line might work one corner, but then it leaves you out of position for the next corner, and he could not make it work on Rieger just because of that reason. He lost momentum.
Very technical outer course here, just over 3 miles, 15 turns at Miller Motorsports Park. Matt Schultz continues to lead. This is the battle for third, fourth, fifth on back. The 90X car of Trevor McCallion, and look how Hedrick get a little sideways there. McCallion doing a great job to hold off Timothy Rieger, who started a little bit deeper in the field and has raced his way up and looking pretty good here in the last few laps of this race.
And now we can see maybe that the value of youth over experience, perhaps. These younger drivers still have the stamina, not like us middle-aged old guys. And they're charging to the front, using the experience they got in that team challenge, and now contending for a national championship here in Spec Miata.
Well, Timothy Rieger just turned 18 years old, trying to hold off Sean Hedrick, who goes wide off the final turn to the front straightaway as the white flag comes out. Matt Schultz is your leader, has a big advantage over second place Kyle Lustenau. The battle for third still hot and heavy as they race down this long front straightaway, and now here comes Tyler Vance again to the inside of Sean Hedrick.
Wow, in this case, white flag doesn't mean surrender, it means war, and we got to get it done here at the last lap of our race.
And Tyler Vance puts a big move on Hedrick to take the position. Vance has been fast all week, ran fourth and second respectively in his qualifying events, so the multi-time Team Mazda Challenge West champion takes another position as we go back up to that battle for third. McCallion in the 90 and the young Timothy Rieger right behind him.
Oh, and Lustenau goes off but saves it. That little bit of momentum that he lost, you see him closing up on him? That was almost adios amigos to the second step on the podium.
So now the battle for second heats up as Lustenau trying to hold off McCallion. You can see in his rearview mirror, that is the 19 of Timothy Rieger as McCallion tight, loose, loose, tight, trying to do everything he can to get by that 89 to take the second spot. And Rieger, again, trying to get on the podium right now, running in fourth.
And look at that. He's got to look out the windshield and look in the rearview mirror because, wow, I mean, Rieger is just all over him while he's trying to catch Kyle Lustenau. Great racing here on our final corners of our national championship for Spec Miata.
So that's Lustenau in the 89 trying to hold off Trevor McCallion for the second spot. Timothy Rieger behind them trying to get on the podium, and McCallion is all over the rear bumper as they work through turns 8, 9, and 10, known as the Attitudes.
Wow, look at that. They're using every single inch of the track trying to find that magic piece of pavement that'll rocket them by the guy in front.
Yeah, and it looks like McCallion lost a little bit through the Attitudes. So the battle now between third and fourth for that final podium position. Rieger in the 19, the blue and orange striped car, taking a peek to the inside, the final couple of corners here.
Looks like Lustenau opened up a little bit of space, but not even close. Here comes McCallion. Rieger's right there, too. I'm not going to call it. It's still too close.
Well, there's Matt Schultz making his way through the final turn, turn number 15. Lustenau still runs in second. Here's the battle for that third spot. Can Trevor McCallion hold off Timothy Rieger? As the checkered flag comes out, Matt Schultz will pick up the win. The national championship goes to the 11 car. I'm going to head down to Victory Lane, John, to talk to Matt Schultz, our winner, but a great race here at Miller.
Beautiful race, Rob. Clean racing, no big yellow flag incidents, and really wonderful stories. First place goes to Matt Schultz, then Kyle Lustenau in second. Trevor McCallion takes that third spot, then Timothy Rieger in fourth. Tyler Vance in the fifth position. Great stories all throughout. Ken Sutherland starting off strong and then falling back as the race went on. Dan McKeever out with a heartbreaking mechanical failure. Now we're going to go down and talk to our inside man, our champion, Matt Schultz.
And Matt Schultz climbs out of the winning number 11 car. And Matt, what a great race, man. You started sixth, big moves early, moved up to fourth, passed a couple cars, passed a couple more cars, moved into second, got out front, kind of checked out. I don't know if you can see behind you, a lot of battles behind you, but definitely the class of the field. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was watching the pack behind me, and I could see them battle, so I was just trying to maintain a pace without using up my tires too much because the track's hot. I knew, starting sixth, that I had to make a move, get to the front fast. Fall in the cars in the draft, the water temp gets up too high, you start losing power. I got out front, cool engine, a lot of power.
Has it sunk in? You're a national champ.
Yep, it has.
That's Matt Schultz. Big win here at Miller Motorsports Park, your Spec Miata national champion.
And with that, we will close out another fantastic race here at Miller Motorsports Park. Great racing all throughout. Thanks to Toyo Tires. Thanks to our friends at Mazda. And we'll see you again next year.